Good evening, everyone. This is Veterans Talk, coming to you every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m., talking about things that matter to veterans. We have a full show today, and our host is in the audience today, but he will be participating because it is really challenging to hand him a mic and have him not participate. So we're glad to have him. We're starting off today talking about things important to veterans. As you can see, we have two guests on today, and we'll be discussing to them. Also, we're even expanding our show to include a Zoom participant. So welcome to Veterans Talk, and let's get the show on the road. We'll start off with our guest today. We'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, you guys, for allowing us to be here. My name is Crystal Strickland. I'm with Will Invest Outreach, and we actually go out and service the homeless veterans and the people in our community.
My name is Yvonne Williams Hobgood, and I am a caregiver trainer with Cultivating Hope nonprofit. And to go back to what you were saying, as far as the caregiving, I truly understand it because I am a caregiver, and I see it firsthand all the time, and that bothers me as well as you because I know exactly what you're talking about because I see it all the time. It's a lot of people don't want to do their jobs, and they just there for a check or just, like I just said, to be just out of the home. So to me, caregiving is beyond compassion, passion, love, patience, attention, being aware, education, because it's important. And caregivers matter, as well as the people they're caring for. So.
Yeah, that's extremely important. We're talking primarily about veterans, but that's important within the community, not just among veterans.
Yes.
Veterans need that kind of care also. So it's extremely important that we make the community aware of the services that are available and the quality of the services that are available, because that's important for anyone having a health challenge, is the importance of the care that they're receiving.
Yes.
So thank you for being one of those people that's willing to participate and speak out about those challenges that people who are caregivers have and the services that the people in need of care are receiving. Yes. Well,
yes, thank you.
So what's going on with your organization?
And so let's stay right there with our seniors and our vets, because literally we also help out with seniors. We like to be able to not only just give them wraparound service, but go out and feed them, uplift them, take them out to do different events and do different things. We're actually working right now. I was talking to Reverend McGee as well. We're working on a program that we're rolling out to be able to help veterans. Because a lot of times what we don't understand, we go to the government, we complain about this and that, but they actually gave us a loophole through nonprofits.
Yes.
And if we start a new nonprofit, we can control a lot of things that's going on in our neighborhood, in our community. And so I definitely believe in that, and definitely also want to make sure that we always are serving them and giving them the best, because a lot of times we're looking at people homeless, we're thinking they're on drugs. That's the first thing mostly everybody thinks. A lot of people don't think they're homeless, that's a veteran. That's home, that's my grandmama, that's my granddaddy, like things of that nature. And they literally just look over them and keep going. And what I believe in, I want to get old one day, that's my goal. And so I want somebody to think about me, check on me, see about me, because I don't know where I will be at. I'm praying to God to have me driving the car at 106, but it might not be that. And if that's the case, I've decided to come up with something where we can be able to help our seniors and our veterans. So therefore, I believe that God will provide something for me as well. And even if he don't, I know that he had me do what he needed to do for his people.
Yeah. It's important that you are doing that type of work and quality work, because it's something that is needed within the community. We need to get the community organized and ready to step out to help not just the veterans, but anybody within the community. So it is a community effort on our part to serve the needs of the veterans and also the seniors.
Most definitely. And you just said that it's on us, and a lot of people don't think that. A lot of us
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of us don't think that is actually on us.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people, like I said, they'll look at it as, well, I hope somebody else come. I hope somebody else do something. I hope they do this. Or they'll start talking about what people are not doing as well, too. They'll talk about what people are not doing. And I look at it as, instead of me focus on what a lot of people are not doing, I just try to figure out what can I do. What is in my capacity? And then what I noticed that I would find other people like-minded, like Pastor McGee, and then also like you in different, all these different organizations, and we come together and maximize the giving. I can only do so much by myself, right?
Right.
So if I come together with another organization, we can reach people that we would never reach. They reach people they never reach, and now we get quality
Yeah.
and the quantity.
Yeah.
And we got another guest that we want to bring in.
Right.
This
Yes.
conversation too.
Yes. We're not the only ones. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, we have a Zoom guest that's on. And so we're going to bring them on and let him introduce himself and tell him why he's with us today.
I suppose that's my cue.
That's your cue. Yeah.
My name is Kerry King. I'm an attorney. I'm senior partner in my firm. But when I was in Vietnam, I served basically 21 months in Vietnam with the 1st Infantry Division. I started off as an infantry company commander. I'd been in the Army at that point a few years, and then my original MOS was artillery, so I decided to extend so I could get from the infantry back to the artillery, and I did a half a tour with the artillery until I got wounded, and then I came home. So I did, after I got off active duty, I did go into the National Guard and the reserves, retired from that in 1987, I think. My memory's not as good as it used to be. And whoever said their goal is to get old, I'm already there. So I made your goal. That wasn't exactly my goal, but I guess it is the opposite of the other goal, which is not a positive way to go. So I appreciate y'all inviting me today. I will tell you a little bit just so you kind of understand where I'm coming from. I didn't go to law school till after I came home from Vietnam. I spent 7 years in the Army before I got out, and then about 4 years till I finally got my head straightened out enough to go to law school. Went to law school, and around 1998, myself and 2 other lawyers opened up the pro bono clinic at the VA Medical Center on Claremont Road. We were the first ones. We were the first pro bono clinic in the whole, I'm proud of that too, in the whole VA system. And I have done that and still do a portion of assistance to veterans in my practice. I'm still in practice with my son, but I try to always have some time for veterans. Yeah. So
Yes.
that's kind of my story. I'm from Atlanta, grew up, went to several different grammar schools, including Samuel Inman, and went to Grady High School, graduated from Grady High School, went to Georgia State, and that's kind of my background. And my wife is also from Atlanta. We were both born here. I was born at Georgia Baptist, and she was born at Piedmont. So we're long-time Atlanta folks.
Yeah, you have a long history here. One quick question or explanation. What is pro bono work? For those of us we want to know what that is.
Pro bono work is, what pro bono actually means is just a Latin expression. It means basically free. It means for essentially no fee. In my area, what I've always done, I'm a general practice attorney and do all kinds of litigation. So besides being the director of the clinic for 24 years, I think, I dealt with general practice stuff. What we would do is people would come into the VA Medical Center by appointment through the Voluntary Services Department, and we had at one point, we had 12 lawyers. Pandemics kind of shot that in the behind. So right now, myself and 1 or 2 others are working through an outfit called the Warrior Alliance, To what we basically do is we listen to people, we try to direct them with their legal problems, and I'm not necessarily talking about VA benefits, although we have lawyers that do that as well, but I'm talking about everyday stuff, landlord-tenant stuff, divorce work, custody battles. We don't actually go so far as to represent them in court because I don't have enough lawyers to do that. But we can sit down with a veteran and give them free legal advice and try to get them in the right direction on whatever their legal problem happens to be. And I can tell you that our clinic over the period of 1998 until 2020, when we had the pandemic kind of shut us down, we gave about 17,000 free legal hours to veterans. So we're pretty proud of that. And I'm still very active in veterans activities. I'm a former president of Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association, former chairman. I'm a current board member, and I'm kind of their de facto lawyer as well, as you might guess. So that's about it. I mean, and I have full-time legal practice besides that with my son.
Well, we appreciate that kind of information, and I'm quite sure that the veterans that are on listening to this broadcast are appreciative of that. You know, it's the challenge occasionally sometimes is the fact that being aware that those services are available, and therein a lot of times is a challenge. They don't know that pro bono services for veterans dealing with matters are available, and so. First of all, we want to thank you and your organizations for actually doing that, because of course it's much needed among those veterans within our community and of course across the country. So once again, thank you.
You're welcome. It's as I've said many times, giving speeches and just talking to groups about the program. It's really a labor of love. I mean, we're all brothers and sisters in this thing, okay? I never saw anybody bleed any color blood other than red.
Yeah.
And, it is for me, in 1968, we were in a terrible position with my company, and didn't think we were gonna make it out. And I remember praying, they say there's no atheism in Foxhole. I remember praying, Lord, if you'll just get me out of this with a semblance of a brain and some arms and legs, I'm going to give back somehow. Just let me get out of this. Well, I got out of it, knock on wood. And it wasn't until 1998 where myself and two other people, Greg Studdard, who was a platoon leader, an infantry platoon leader, and a guy named Mac McClendon, who'd been in World War II and was a prisoner of war, got shot down over Germany, was a prisoner of war. The three of us started that clinic, and I can tell you, we've had some big cases in my firm. We've done criminal defense work on a high level. We've done a lot of big civil litigation, and nothing gives me the satisfaction that I get out of helping somebody that's a veteran that is in dire need of advice and has gotten off track, and that's much more rewarding to me than winning some big case involving a whole lot of dollars.
Yeah.
So.
That's wonderful. We have a comment or a question from the audience.
All right. All right, now I should put a caveat on this. That's a warning.
Yeah.
The caveat is I'll give you some general advice, but I have to be careful not to give very specific advice, because we have malpractice insurance, number one. And number two, more importantly than that, is the fact that we're talking about folks' confidential information.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to keep that confidential. So I'll try to answer whatever questions I can, but be careful about asking me, about things that might violate your own confidentiality.
Thank you.
Kerry, Tony has dubbed our program ordained by God. the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial. And I've always said it was a call to unity, because I believe the spirits of our brothers that were killed in Vietnam, that were from our hometown, has called us out to do something just like you're doing now. We not see, a lot of people think that we just building we want to build a memorial in Piedmont Park, which we're gonna do. But beyond that, we want to go into their communities and do exactly what you have been doing over the years. I remember I was a VA employee, so I know what kind of work that clinic does, and I know what the Warriors Alliance does. They do more work for veterans in this area than any other organization. And I'm gonna say if it weren't for you guys, I couldn't stand the Georgia Department of Veteran Services, because they just don't have the personnel or sometimes I think the training to do what they need to do for veterans. And I think that counts for a lot of homelessness among veterans, because until we understand the nature of service and what that service can cause in many cases. I just got out of Emory because I have bleeding ulcers, which is a part of my PTSD. But you talked about the first years of you coming back from Vietnam, and before you got a grip and went to law school. I think too many of us went through that, and it has not allowed us to develop in the community to get our skill package, the things that we learn as veterans. To be able to look past race, look past differences.
Amen.
Because we were in predicaments where you really didn't care about what color, what nationality, individual next to you. You got to you bonded in ways that make us look at this project, the Sons of Atlanta, as something that we must bring home to our community. I went to Washington High, you went to Grady, and we met because of your organization and mine. My organization being Vietnam Veterans of America, yours being the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association. Now, I just believe that this is a divine meeting.
Yes.
Because it's going to take us, both of our organizations, to do this memorial. Because what it means is that we're going to get our communities together in a way that we can start dealing with some of those problems in the community. We got gun violence that's rocking our nation all over, not just in Atlanta, but all over. But we got veterans all over. And I think that what we're about to do in Atlanta, Georgia, is going to spread throughout the nation. Because Vietnam veterans have this obligation. Because we have overcome so much with so little for so long, I believe that we can overcome the impossible forever with nothing.
Yeah, well, that's all very well said. I'll share a little bit of this personally. When I came home, I couldn't sleep at night at all. If the sun went down, I was wide awake. And I had a wife and 2 kids I had to support. So what I would do is I would go sleep at 1 o'clock in the afternoon until about 2. I'd get a nap, and I'd go to work for the afternoon. And in the mornings, I would fall asleep in the mornings. When everybody else was getting up in the morning, I would fall asleep. And all that was as a direct result of Vietnam. And there's so many of those kind of stories out there of people who took years to adjust. It took me a good 6-7 years to be able to actually sleep at night, which is kind of hard to explain to somebody that hadn't seen the elephant, as we used to say. The damage that war does. First of all, let me say I've never been ashamed. I've never been anything but proud of what we all did over there. We stepped up and went for our country when other people decided not to, and we made great sacrifices way beyond. And it wasn't just getting wounded and it was things like the loneliness and you live for mail call and things like that people can't understand. Separation. My daughter, she was 2 years old practically before I saw her. She was born when I was on a plane on my way over there or right after. So, I mean, what's important about this monument that you're doing, our group has done 26 of these monuments. We did one every year for somebody in Atlanta. I lost 2 people from Grady High School that were people I knew very well. One was in my class, another one's 2 or 3 years behind us. That memorial is for them and their families, and it's for us. I always tell people, when I came back in 1968, we weren't exactly in vogue. They didn't really care for us a hell of a lot, and we got some pretty crappy treatment.
Yes.
And at some point I'll tell you all about a video that we're getting ready to put on YouTube that talks about the reception we got when we came home. But the bottom line is that these monuments, yes, they're to an individual, and yes, they're to a family, and they're for people from this area, but it's for all of us.
Yes.
The ones that survived, that were lucky enough to survive, and the ones we lost. Because we owe them that. We do owe them that.
Most definitely. I truly want to piggyback off that just real quickly because I totally agree. I thank all y'all for y'all services because we were able to lay in bed very comfortably while y'all put y'all lives on the line. And a lot of people don't recognize that or even pay attention to that. I have seen homeless now being treated like that still to this day that are veterans. Like literally people don't even care. It's one guy that keep all his paperwork with him and he's always out, and I have seen some people treat him like he's less than nothing and nobody even thinking about what he could be dealing with, what he's facing with. That's one reason why I'm glad why our president Martina, she had just went and got her mental health certificate to be able to help with people with dealing with different mental health and issues, because they look at it as you came home, you should be happy you made it. And it's like, hold on, wait, I ain't made it. I'm going through this still in my head daily, and still people still to this day. So I don't understand, but I do feel where you guys are coming from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's what's important. I mean, nobody could explain to you what it felt like or what it. We were also from a generation where you didn't complain.
Yeah.
You came because you had nightmares. I remember my mother saying to me, "Well, what? I mean, you're home. You got wounded, but that healed up, and blah blah blah. What's bothering you?" And I couldn't for the life of me explain it. So, and I think everybody listening to this broadcast that's a veteran that's been in a combat situation can tell you that. I was with infantry and artillery units. We were, as we say, in the weeds. We were in the weeds most of the time. I read somewhere that in World War II, the average infantryman in a 4-year period of the war was in actual combat, physical contact with an enemy about 60, 70 days a year when you look at a 12-month period. In Vietnam, that was something over 200. So a year in Vietnam was like, I can't even describe it. I mean, those of you that were there, it was like, my daughter is a nurse, and when she graduated nursing school, she went to work at Grady in the Hugh Spalding Pavilion in the neonatal unit for the babies that were born that were needed intensive care. And so one day I went down to pick her up for lunch. In those days, my office was at Colony Square, and I went down to pick her up for lunch, and I said, "Honey, how do you like it here at Grady?" And she said, "Daddy, I don't know if like it is the word I would use." She said, "But I learned more in a day at Grady than you would learn at any other hospital or any nursing school in the country in a year." So that's exactly a great description of combat.
Yes.
I remember telling my first sergeant, if you can keep me alive for 30 days, I'll figure it out. and because first sergeant is who kept us alive.
Okay.
Not just first sergeant, all the NCOs I had kept me alive, and I love them all, and I'm still in communication with some of them. So, the main thing is what you said is right, is that they need help, and they need different kinds, and legal help is just one kind of help. And the benefit thing is just one type of help. But I'll tell you a story without certainly mentioning names, but a man came in to see me one time and he said, I've been in the drug rehab program. And he said, I need to get a job, but I can't get a job. And I said, why can't you get a job? He said, I don't know. And I said, well, you got a driver's license, don't you? And he went, no. And I said, why not? He said, well, they took my driver's license away. And I said, why? Which is what lawyers always do. We're asking why all the time. And he said, well, it had something to do with my child support. And I said, are you behind on your child support? He said, yeah. And I said, how much? And he told me. And I said, how'd you get so far behind? He said, because when I came home from either Afghanistan or Iraq, I don't remember where he was, but he said he was on his 4th or 5th tour to whichever theater it was. And he said, when I came home, he said, I just found myself drinking all the time. And next thing you know, I was in drugs, and I got fired from my job. Because of that, I couldn't pay my child support. Because I couldn't pay my child support, I lost my license. And because I lost my license, I can't get a job. There is a good summary of what happens to people.
Yep, they come.
Sometimes, not all the time. I mean, thank God most of us came out and survived that too. But it happens to people, and you have to be empathetic and understand that it could be a direct result of military service.
And one thing too, a lot of employers, we were just talking about when people go to work, they really go to work. They don't think about and empathize with the people that are working there. Because I bet you not one time did they even ask that man, are you okay? Or what's going on? Or is this something we can do to help? And instead they'll dismiss you so quick and to get someone else in and not see that it's a tumbling effect. I was speaking with a young gentleman who want to actually go out and start taping, doing the program on the homeless, but he actually wanted to look at it as from a point of view of seeing where they're at and then do a rewind to where it started at. Right. To actually see, because a lot of people don't understand that people out there homeless right now. I have met people that done literally had something happen to them in their life and it stopped them in their tracks. They could not go.
We call it unpeeling the onion. You gotta, it's like an onion. You gotta just keep peeling until you get down to the core.
Yes.
And it took me 20 questions to get that gentleman to get me down to what the problem was. So, and that's the case frequently. And employers, frankly, I'm not trying to take up for them because I'm, you know which side of this issue I'm on, but they don't have the time for all that. All they know is somebody's doing their job, they're not doing the job. They don't have time to figure it out and determine why. And they really, I don't want to say they can't afford it, but it's all about running their business. They don't have time to check into everybody's background. And so it's the organizations like ours and like yours that has got to step in there and try to help everybody become responsible citizens again, and get rid of this PTSD. And you're not going to ever get rid of it. I'll tell you right now, you're not. But what you can do is learn how to manage it, learn how to function with it.
I want to interject because we got some veterans in the audience. We got some veterans in the audience. Yes. And one of the veterans that I really want to point to, and he's looking down his
I can't see you pointing at him, so I don't guess.
Special forces in Vietnam, and an officer. So but now what he do? He's out trying to help veterans get housing. Trey, I know you don't want to talk. Yeah.
Say a few words for us, Trey.
By the way, my wife says I have a face for radio.
That's why I'm glad I'm not being seen. One of the problems that we're having right now is all these big corporations are buying up all the houses and ended up renting them. And it's very bad for people, especially low-income people,
right,
making less than $50,000 a year. to find a place that they can really afford. So I found, I was looking at the thing with the mayor of South Fulton moved into Camelot.
Uh-huh.
And when I started investigating it, I found that you could find houses from $40,000 up. It's a condo. It's the houses have been completely renovated that they have for sale, but the general area is messed up. So what has happened is that we've been trying to get people to buy them, but then we're having a problem with the finance companies. The finance companies don't want to finance anything less than $100,000 because they think it's not profitable. It doesn't have anything to do with the risk of the individual.
Yeah.
And so what happens is an investor buy that house, then turn around and rent to somebody for $1,400 a month. When that person is paying the $1,400 could own the house for about $400 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, that happens all the time, but I'll tell you this, the Warrior Alliance has some assistance that people can get on housing as well, and also there are VA benefits. If somebody's got an honorable discharge and are looking to buy a house, you can get, VA loan can refer you to some lending agencies that might, as long as they know they got a VA loan, even if somebody's struggling with their employment or with the amount of their employment, with the amount of wages they make. So the VA loan can help alleviate some of those problems. So.
That's an excellent feed-in into our next discussion. Reverend McGee would probably like to share his story of, at this period in his life, purchasing a home. So we're going to pass the mic back to him, and while he's doing that, we're going to find out. The other thing, one of the things that we were talking about very briefly, is part of this memorial program is we plan to go out in the community to talk to veterans, and not just veterans, but also those young men that are about to go into the military, so we can inform them of the benefits that are available to them, and also communicate how they can obtain these benefits, and once they have those benefits, what's the best way to use them. So that's just a small portion of what the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam Memorial will be doing once this memorial is built and we become a more active part of the community. Now, Reverend McGee, let's hear your story.
Well, I'm going to say this. Right now, if I had not been in the hospital.
I can't hear Reverend McGee.
Okay.
Can you get a little closer to the mic or something?
Okay, let me see. Oh, okay. Now, is that better? Is that better, Corey? Okay, something is going wrong here.
You press the button on the mic.
Oh, I'm not supposed to touch the mic.
Right now, we're dealing with a few technical difficulties, and so while we're doing that,
well, actually, while we're doing that, I would actually like to add something real quick to what he was saying, if you guys didn't mind.
Go right ahead.
He said something that we went by very quickly, and I don't think nobody heard it. That these corporate companies coming and purchasing all these homes.
They are.
And a lot of people do not know why they're doing them. I'm actually a realtor as well, too. I just don't talk about it because I care more about the work I'm doing in the community. But the thing is the reason why they're buying it because they're going back to some of the old days. And what I mean by that, they're looking to have it where you come work for us and we'll give you a place to stay in, and then that's how your rent is covered, and then you stay with us. So they're taking you back, and the reason why I say old days because they're not pushing you to be a homeowner or even have your own company or business. They're literally bringing people back in because that's why they're buying up all of these homes, and a lot of people are not even talking about that right now.
yeah.
Well,
And they're on reloads too. They're moving somebody, let's say, from Dallas or and they need somewhere to live for maybe they're in Atlanta for a year or two, and then they go back to where the other branch is, or maybe it's a permanent move, but they don't know where to live. It gives them a way to transfer that employee and have him somewhere to live immediately, him or her. So there's a lot of that going on, and also it's a good write-off for them,
Yes.
just business-wise. You know. So don't ever kid yourself that they don't think about that. 'Cause
Oh,
they do.
yes.
You know, I want to interject because, you know,
Yeah.
one of the reasons I was adamant about being here today, Memorial Day is coming up, Memorial Day. And, you know, I put this question to people in the community. What do Memorial Day means to you? Now,
To me?
I know that what it means to me as a veteran, you know, but I want the community, you know, especially that part of the community that had a member of their family in the military, and those people that was unfortunate enough to lose that loved one, and to know that that loved one was killed in the U.S. military. You know, why? What does that mean? Why do we have a Memorial Day? And what we're doing with our project, the Sons of Atlanta, is that we're not only honoring those that were killed in the war, we're honoring the community that sent them. So we want the community to be more sensitive toward military service, so that they would really value what these young people are doing. I just want to shout out to the ones that are in the military today. I was in an Uber today with one. You know, you know, I'm always wearing my cap. When he picked me up from Grady, he saw I had on my Purple Heart hat. And he just pulled up his hat. He said, "What branch?" I said, "You look like you got an army sitting right there." That's the branch right there. And you know, we got to make sure that these people, that this young man is driving an Uber. And I don't think anything wrong with it. I didn't have a chance to question whether he was using the rest of his benefits. You know, so Memorial Day means to me all of the things that we're doing and talking about right now. Bringing the community together to honor itself and those that they have sacrificed for the freedoms that we all enjoy in this city, this country. You know, when I left Atlanta in 1967, you didn't have the traffic that you have now. You didn't even have the traffic that we have now. But because of the economic growth, the freedom to grow, we are a major city. You know, we have one of the most exciting states in the United States. I'm a Georgia boy, so I'm crazy about it. I like going down to Savannah, I like going to Columbus. I like going all over the state. But I don't see, except in a few towns and some of them small towns, that have memorials for their war dead. In our hometown, Corey, they ain't did that yet.
Yet, magic word, yet.
We want to push them to do that because we lost this county of Georgia. The city of Atlanta lost over 180. But you don't have one memorial that talks about that 180. Well, what we're doing is we're bringing the county together. We got all the cities that lost sons during the Vietnam War. And we're going to go throughout this county with a sense of patriotism that these young men had. See, I can say, because you talk about your friend, I talk about my friend. You know, I know what kind of kid this was. He loved Atlanta. You know, he come by my house, we walked downtown. You know, we got outside and hung out. You know, we didn't go down there to steal or nothing. We went down there to, to shop. One to shop sometimes, but we had money. But the fun part was we was able to go around this city, and felt the city. But when this man body came home, wrapped in a flag, gave it to his family, and he hadn't been remembered since. Not one time, other than his family. But he died for his whole community. He served for this whole community. So I want his memory and what he lived and died for to be in Piedmont Park, and by the grace of God, we're about to do that.
Come on.
Yeah.
So what does Memorial Day mean to you?
Yeah.
Same thing, probably.
I tell you, it means Robert Chambers. It means a boy named Dennis Zaboyski. It means a gunner named Philip Law. My first boss, Robert Gross. That's what it means. And, you know, whatever complaining I've done about whatever, you know, I've got 2 different kinds of cancer. Thank you, courtesy of DuPont or Dow Chemical or somebody. But I'm here and I'm alive, and I've seen my grandchildren. My oldest grandchildren are 24 years old. I've had children. I've had stepchildren. I got grandchildren. I'm gonna be 82 years old in June. Knock on wood, God willing. That's what I think about on Memorial Day, and where people get confused between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Veterans Day is for all of us. The active, the retired, the alive and dead. Memorial Day is for those we lost. Period. And you know, it's like I always think about when people talk about their, you know, when somebody's introduced and they'll tell you what awards and decorations they have. I always think to myself, it's a piece of silk with something hanging from it that in order for somebody to get one of those things, somebody had to either die or be badly wounded. Not necessarily the guy that got it, but somebody else. So, and Memorial Day always reminds me of that no matter what I feel about my service, I'm here. I made it.
Yeah.
Memorial Day, those men and women that were killed didn't make it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. One of the things that I often mention, yes, it's a Memorial Day to celebrate those people, but the other thing is they were recognized in the National Memorial in Washington, D.C., but our city, where we grew up, has not did a memorial to recognize those 240-something young men who paid the ultimate price. When we were in the military, we were always proud. Where are you from? You know, I would never tell people, I was from Palmetto, Georgia. They're going like, where is that? You know? And they're going like, okay. But you would say, I'm from Atlanta. And of course, everybody knew. And so, you know, and you hear that, oh, I know another homeboy from Atlanta. And they would make a point to connect us. You know, and a lot of times we never realized that we knew each other when we were in Atlanta, that we were from some similar high school, that we had played football or basketball against the other school. And so you would spend time talking about those wonderful events that you did when you were in Atlanta. And so we celebrated our hometown, and that's all we're asking for now. We want our hometown to celebrate and honor those young men. You know,
that'll be a permanent memorial.
Yes.
It's not just one day a year. We need to remember them all the time.
Yes.
And every time somebody walks into Piedmont Park, when you get that memorial set up and it's dedicated, those 200 plus people are going to, somebody will be thinking about them every day.
Yes. It's one of those things where I often refer to it. In death, there's only the body dies, but that spirit will live on. And so now those young men's spirit will be back in their hometown that we were all so proud of, and so were they. Yeah.
Right. And this is a great city. I mean, there aren't many cities like Atlanta. I'd put us in the top 1 or 2 in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, this has always been a good feeling kind of city where we all got along together and didn't have problems. I mean, nothing was perfect, but I'm talking about Atlanta had a lot of good feelings and a lot of love between people. We get in a football game in Cheney Stadium, get into a fight trying to walk back to the locker room. But that was kid stuff. I mean, underneath all that, we didn't have gangs roaming the street with shotguns and automatic weapons. I mean, it's a good, and it's still a good feeling. Those are a small minority of people, thank goodness.
Yes.
But this city's got more to offer than most cities in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's so true. I totally agree. And I actually want to share what Memorial Day means to me, because the way I look at Memorial Day, I look at the actual homeless people who have, I feel like they're lost and forgotten.
Yeah.
And a lot of the veterans that's out there, I feel like when I see them, they are forgotten. Like, I feel like their memorial started the day they came home,
Yeah.
like literally. And even though it's supposed to be for people who dead and gone, but like I said, we ride past some people and don't even see them.
Yeah.
Don't even acknowledge them. Sometimes people won't even stop to just say, hey, how you doing? I hope you have a blessed day. Sometimes that can just make such a big change. So Memorial Day, it definitely means that to me when I see that. And I'm so excited for the work that everybody's come together doing, because a lot of people don't understand we maximize the giving by coming together. Don't worry about if you're doing what I'm doing. Let's do it together. Let's make this happen, because when we come together, that's for the greater good of the people. And I really think that this is very important. I am so excited to even be here, to be a part, even be in y'all presence right now.
Yeah. You get that. All of a sudden, everyone's getting that warm feeling. You know, that warm fuzzy feeling. You know. Yeah.
We need to break out a bottle of scotch here.
But it's good to hear that as a veteran, that there are actual citizens in this city who care enough about the veterans, that want to help the veterans, but also care for the veterans. You know, it is not just a single item, it's a collective item.
You know, that's what the Sons of the Line is drawing together. That's why the way we set up the task force, we got veterans on the task force, but we also have civilians, you know, on the task force, who, you know, they're on there because they had relationships with a veteran, sometimes a brother, sometimes a father. But we're bringing the community together in a way that they can appreciate that service, and especially that sacrifice, because it's a family sacrifice.
Yes. Yes.
And it's a community sacrifice.
Yes.
You know, you think about the good work that Corey is doing, and you know, the good work that Trey is doing in the community. Just think about how these guys not make the ultimate sacrifice. They will be contributing to the community too.
Yes.
So we want to do that in their spirit. We want to start by having this, and it's a beautiful memorial. It's going to be an open air memorial in Piedmont Park between 12th and 14th Street, right on Piedmont Avenue. You can go there 24/7. You know, you can go there by yourself, and you can go there with a group.
Yes.
But our hometown seal is on this memorial.
Yes.
College Park seal is on this memorial.
Palmetto?
Palmetto seal.
Yeah, getting them in the house, they gonna know about Palmetto now.
Dunwood is seal.
Yes.
Let's start thinking about all these little cities that these guys came from. Probably never did anything together, but they're gonna be at Piedmont Park together.
Yes.
You know, and then we're gonna go in their communities, in the libraries, and the community centers, and set up help centers. I wrote a book. I know several homeboys that don't wrote books. I want every one of these books in the libraries in Fulton County.
Yes.
You know, and we're going into the Fulton County community centers and set up help stations to point to the Warriors Alliance, which is an organization that does excellent training, probably better than any other group. Now, I don't know, I ain't gonna go crazy. I do good training.
Are y'all at all familiar with the Fort McPherson facility?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, are you aware that they have one building there? It has limited beds for somebody that's an emergency situation homeless.
Yes.
I think they have, if I remember correctly, they have 44 beds, I think.
Yes, yes,
And the people have to agree to be drug free.
yes.
They have to, and they have to check in, and they have curfews and all that stuff. But that, and it depends on how many beds they've got available. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's something also that a homeless vet needs to hear about.
Yes. Because I work with the VA, where I seen it, I'm part of it, of getting veterans out there. But what bothers me, I was also discharged from Fort McPherson, and I was on the funeral detail.
Yep.
You know, meaning a lot of these guys that we're talking about now, I actually buried them. You know, well, I didn't bury them, but I drove the funeral detail officer. In other words, I have been in country towns where they saw that car coming that I was driving. They started hollering and screaming. They didn't even want us to stop that. You know, because they knew we were barriers of bad news. The folk like this, the homeless program, could have taken over a car company. They got about 15, well, about right now because of Tyler Perry Christian now, they probably have about 10 barracks out there right now, empty. And that you know they could have overnight taken every veteran off the streets in the line. And I won't rest until they do.
Yeah. That's right.
I won't rest until they do. That's why we have the Fulton County Veteran Program.
Yeah.
Well, I was one of the people that helped found the Veterans Court and get that legislation passed, authorizing veterans courts. And we started off with, I opened up the Fulton County program and set up the first mentor program for the veterans in that program, and opened up, I helped open DeKalb and Cobb as well. And we now have, out of 56 judicial circuits, I think we have somewhere around 27 or 28, all of which have veterans courts. So that's a great program. That program also has resources available to some that get into criminal trouble, and they put them through the hoops. I mean, it's a 2-year program.
Yeah, I've also been fortunate enough to work with the Atlanta Veteran Court and Clayton County Veterans Court. So you're absolutely right. They do great work. But now we want to become the voice of the community. We used to say we want to become the voice of the veterans to let them know about that. So that's why I was excited, Corey, when we met and you said that you were meeting with this organization, and we started talking. Because what your organization is doing is exactly some of the same things that we are doing on a different level. You know, the memorial is not our forte. You know, really. You're familiar with Vietnam Veterans of America. They're not building memorials. When I met you guys, first time experience was in the Atlanta Veterans Day Parade. You guys helped us pass out the flyers of the Sons of Atlanta. And we never discussed the program, but last month we had an opportunity to discuss the program with the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association, and we was out at your monthly membership meeting, and I'm saying the camaraderie.
Yes.
The camaraderie that we felt made me feel like I was back in Norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an unusual organization. I mean, I belong to a lot of things that are, devolve into politics and cliques and all that stuff. This organization never loses sight of the fact that we're together because of Vietnam, and we're together to take care of veterans. That's what our whole mission in life is. And we do the USO at the airport, and we did memorials for 26 years until we sort of ran out of finding family members. But listen, guys, I really have enjoyed this. My commander-in-chief says I got to be home in 10 minutes.
You know who that is.
I just got a text message from my CIC. Tell me if I'm not home in 20 minutes, I'm going to be eating outside with the dog, I guess. So if y'all will forgive me, I'm going to have to sign off at this point. I've enjoyed this very much, and I hope I've edified somebody with something a little bit that you didn't know when you got here.
Yes.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey, for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That was very amazing. I really enjoyed Mr. Corey. That was very amazing.
Yeah.
Very empowering and knowledgeable as well too.
It was.
Yeah, it's always glad to see that there are other organizations in the community that's working for veterans benefits. Go ahead. Microphone. Microphone.
And microphone.
The other part is to have you guys here, working, doing the same thing. So this, like you were saying, this gives us more quality, more resources.
Yes.
this is the way to bring these resources together in our community. You know, because we were talking, I'm setting you up with Grace Ministry, who is Reverend Caldwell.
Carwell, yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
He is every day feeding the homeless. Every week bringing truckloads of food that he gives out to the community. Now this is not, they cook out there at Grace and do all that, but the other groceries they pass out are uncooked. So what we would like to do is to make sure that you're hooked up with that, so you can get more resources for your feeding program.
Yes.
That's one step.
Thank you so
And
much.
then we're gonna bring you out of just being a community advocate. We want that real estate piece too.
Oh yes, that's the only
Glory
thing
to
you.
God.
You gotta need to tell the people on the app. That's we gonna do that.
You know, what we want this show to be, and Tony always act like he can't carry the show.
Tony doing amazing. Okay.
You got it.
Amazing. You know, not
Yes.
just amazing. This man is the most detailed person I've ever.
Wow.
You know, when we go out, and we out in the community all the time, and, I'm running my mouth, so he's taking down. He's remembering stuff, so I had to call on him.
Oh, that's me, that's you.
This, now y'all sound like this is what I'm hearing, because literally, like, so this is actually my best friend as well. She's also my treasurer, but also she has her own nonprofit as well. And literally, we work together, and I am the one that be go no. I'm like, yeah, I'm going. I'm not talking about her. But I have the same spirit as you have. And one thing I learned about her is that she has the more calm spirit, and not only that, she's more oriented and detailed than where I am not. So God sends you the right people, I believe, to be able to help to do the things that we need to do in the community. And I really appreciate that, because even though she has a nonprofit, I don't look at it as, well, I need you to help me. I didn't want you to start a nonprofit. I was on her like, girl, when you starting your nonprofit? Because she helps out with the caregiving portion. She teaches people how to properly take care of these people with compassion and love and guidance, and show them how to actually show up, give them breaks, also help them with cleaning in their homes, as well as also letting them go. She can tell you so much more about it, but I believe, like I said, at the end of the day, I love what I do in the community, but I love what we do more.
Yes,
Yeah.
Together.
It's reaching more than just one person or one space or what. Yeah. It's reaching a lot of people.
Well, see, that's our purpose. Bringing all
Our,
this
you said
together.
Yes.
our person.
Yeah.
Our, yes.
Bring all these people together in our community, because we're all in the same community.
Yes.
We're all doing different things, and we need to be doing different things.
Yes.
Because all the problems in our community are different.
Yeah.
You know, talking with Corey and them, I recognize that their organization, we never did anything together.
Yeah.
Never.
Other than passing out the flyers for that Veterans Day. That was their only connection.
And being in the parade.
Right.
Now, we Tuesday we're going before their board to partnership up. Now, Corey didn't say it, but what this is, his organization are made up of lawyers, judges, corporate leaders, all of them are Vietnam veterans. You know, so that means influence.
Yeah.
And you don't have to explain.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, so we you know, like Tony often say, this is divinely inspired.
Divinely aligned.
This is,
That's right.
What we doing with the Sons of the Lamb is divinely inspired, because I don't think Tracy was there when I first brought up the issue of honoring the dead. You know, all my organizations are all Vietnam era veterans, right? They said, man, that's a great idea. Well, who cares? People don't get forgotten. 50 years ago. Don't nobody care about that. But the spirit that was
Still
in me,
matter.
we stopped talking about it. So finally I got the executive committee to approve for me to do it. They said, well, you're going to do it. You're on your own with that. You know, we set up a task force. And then I got, you know, people up in the group that say, okay, I help you do this. You know, Herman Anderson and Ron Ali was the first guys that actually gave resources. Herman came up with $1,000 to make out flyers. and Ali went around getting businesses involved. We could have meetings and that kind of stuff. So now we start reaching out to organizations in the community to bring them together. Not just for the sons of Atlanta, but for the spirits of the sons of Atlanta
as well.
You know, for community. If we believe what they died for, that means that they were dying for you.
Yes.
Yep.
And it
They
also,
didn't go in the military to die, they went in there to serve.
Yes.
And the way they served, it ended their lives. We should not forget that level of patriotism in our community, because the problems that we are incurring in our community today are community problems. All of our
of
problems.
course.
All of our
But yeah, of
problems.
course, yes.
All of our problems. That is
See,
so
there's
true.
There's a song that says that once God's children get together, what a
Happy time. And happy time. And it's so amazing you said it, because I actually want to piggyback on it, because it might be somebody out there who want to start a nonprofit, might want to get started and don't know where to go and they're stuck. They need to come and we actually do a class on May the 10th. We have a class coming up where we're showing people how to start a nonprofit. And it's no charge. Literally, we're showing you, and you come and express what your passion is, and we'll come, not only that, we'll even volunteer and help you. We come together as a group of people, because the thing is, a lot of times people are sitting back scared, because if they heard what you said, you had an idea, and then you started and you acted on it.
Yep.
And if don't nobody get out here and act on these things are never going to get better. They're never going to change. And a lot of people just sitting back talking and not walking. So I learned, put the tape over your mouth and start moving your body and doing the work and getting active. Because there's a lot of people can talk very well. I'm one of them. I'm not being funny. I used to be a very good person to just manipulate the mess out you. But now I learned to use this in a positive way and close my mouth more now and do more working. So my service speaks. And a lot of people are fearful. And I tell people time, look, we're on social media, Instagram and Facebook, Will Invest Outreach. Come, let us help you help the people. We're not even trying to get credit. We'll even help you we having people do an event. We got another event coming up, Let's Get Dressed, helping people get clothes. This organization that we're partnering with, they literally just wanted to do something and they had anxiety and it stopped them. And literally, we came in like, well, what you need? That ain't nothing. We can get that done in minutes. And literally, everything came together. And my name didn't need to be on nothing. It's the point of we're doing the work. Period.
And the other thing about nonprofits, you said that something that I think a lot of people miss. It's a way that you can address problems
In your community.
And what I've learned over the years, I've been dealing with nonprofits since I established the NAACP in the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary in 1975. Bringing Jose Williams' voice, Earl Shinholster's work into the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary that got me, at the time I was running Life Without the Possibilities of Parole, that set up an organization which nobody thought about. I couldn't set up a veteran service organization because we didn't have any knowledge of Vietnam veterans of America at that point. But Jose, they wasn't going to let Jose in the penitentiary, so they said, get a lesser radical.
Ain't that something?
They didn't realize what they were
They
getting.
didn't. They messed up the church's money.
See, they knew that Jose was a veteran and a Purple Heart veteran at that, but you know they didn't want that rising in the penitentiary. So they said, well, but the warden was a veteran. He said, I'm gonna let y'all organize so you can get your benefits. So Jose sent Ruby Hurley, who was she looked like a grandmama at that time. The first thing she said to us, now, I got a room full of convicted felons to meet with this woman. First thing she said to us when she got in the room, she said, well, I want to thank the warden for letting us meet. She said, but I'm going to tell you guys this now. This is the day that you stop being irresponsible. This is the day. She said, being locked up don't stop you from being responsible.
Yeah.
Your fathers, brothers, the people that are there miss you and need you. And we're going to work on you responding to that. I got all them white folks to join the NAACP in the penitentiary. standing on McDonald Boulevard.
Yeah. That's a wonderful way to end our show, showing community. So we want you to join us every Saturday from 4 to 5 right here, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Until next week, salute.